I can't thank you enough, Erelu, for this platform, because it's an educative platform, educative, informative, and also historical. I appreciate Professor Salako and the keynote speaker, who is also a historian, for their historical background very much. They are up to it, particularly the emphasis made by Salako that the question of self-determination does not exclude secession. They just say, when you talk of secession or self-determination, the ability to determine what you want. And if secession is the next thing you believe you want, you will be able to do it. They have proved that constitutionally. What I'm going to do within this period is to somehow sort of summarize all the various views, which I believe many are due to lack of sufficient information and knowledge. The historical background given by the professor are not that quite all right. But the problem we are having now, whether we have been fighting ourselves through the Kiriji War or not, Shifaulo has solved that. That has been solved when the Adebanjo was founded in 1948 to unite all the Yorubas. And that was the predecessor to the founding of the action group known as Afenifere. The founding of the Adebanjo is all what we are trying to do now, that all the Yorubas, irrespective of your political thinking, you come together. And what is the aim and objective of Adebanjo? What do you want the Yorubas? This is what Shifaulo and others thought of, that you can't achieve all these things under colonialism without having a political party to forge it out. That is the consequence of founding the action group known as Afenifere. Now the question of whether we have federalism or not came in the process of fighting for independence. And although there were divergent views as to what type of system we should have, should it be military, federalism, and all that, came in before. And as Professor Salako said, Paulo saw to it before. And it told them that when in this type of heterogeneous society, differences in religion, language, and culture, the only thing that can keep together is a system known as federalism. There again, I want to explain to those who are saying restructuring is not a political philosophy. It is the system we are emphasizing to go back to federalism where we started, where the military said we wanted to go. That was when restructuring came into political lexicon of Nigeria. Before then, the Sovereign National Conference, and I tried to tell you in a nutshell how we got there. Now, the question of where should we go was forcefully fought before independence, when there was crisis in the Federal House of Representatives, and the action group moved the motion for self-government by Chief Edawo, asking for self-government for Nigeria in 1966. And the Northerners said no. Then there was crisis. After leaving legislature that day, because when people are talking of all the regions of this country have been talking of separation. What keeps Nigeria together today is the Yoruba land, led by Shifaulo. Be it the Hausa Fulani, be it the Igbos, be it the Ijos, they have one time or the other sought for secession from the country. We are the only one in spite of oppression, in spite of anything, we have never asked for separation. We have always asked to see the beauty in the economy of scale of Nigeria coming together under a known constitutional democracy. Coming together under an agreed terms, coming together, taking care of whatever everybody has. And that was what happened when the crisis came in 1953, and Lord Chandos invited the leaders of the country to the London Constitutional Conference for discussion on what was the cause of this problem. When they got there, all those conflicting areas, one led by Dr. Azikwe, was a unitarist, another led by Chibaulo, who is a federalist, were resolved. And Chibaulo referred them to the way you are having this problem. I have warned you, colonialist people, that you cannot have a federation where one unit of federation is bigger than the rest. That was the time when we had northern, eastern, and western region, and the whole of northern region is bigger than the east and the west put together. That was when Zimbabwe was saying there must be creation of more states to create a balanced federation. So all the background was there, but all that now were taken to London Constitutional Conference, and they agreed on federalism. There again, all these minorities that were having autonomy today, both Azikwe and Saudana said there were no minorities in Nigeria. And I want Professor Salako and the other students to go and I can't go into the details here. It was when they said that, and now I've been saying that we are not just Yoruba and in Nigeria, there are more. And that all these minorities must be given position in order to be a fair federation. So when he invited leaders of the Popular Party in Nigeria in 1953, it was only Chief Aulo that included the minorities in his own delegation from Yoruba land. That was when he brought in the bricks from the from south to south. He brought the Maito, another from another region, and put them in his own delegation. So when they got to that conference, people should know this because I've been repeating to them this, they don't know why. And now Azikwe doesn't want the East to be broken. He said there are no minorities. Saudana said he doesn't want the North to be there are no minorities. The minorities in the East and the North that Aulo included his own delegation, where is the breeze come from? Where does the South Maito and others from the North, where they come from? I'm being interrupted. I don't like this interruption at all. Because you can't meet this man because this is an important situation. I want to get it cleared. When that was cleared, that these minorities do exist, that was what led to linking the willing commission of inquiry. And that was the time the colonial office said, well, the Yoruba, let's just say they want self-government. These now say they want self-government. But you don't say they don't want and all that. Let's really go and find out whether this minority do exist. And let those who want self-government have it at the time they want it. And the North will say they don't want in 1966. You have their own in 59. It was when they had their own independence in 59 and self-government in 59, Nigeria had its own 1960. Now I'm tracing this question because people are thinking that the problem we are having now is a new one. It has been solved. That's why I'm giving you the background. Now, It was at that constitutional conference that the federalism was established on return from 1954. The question, the Western region, Eastern region, their constitution were written separately. Under McPherson Constitution, under which they went to England, there was no premiership. It was unitary in form. And it was, I was emphasized that time that, well, this cheating is inclusive. Derivation there again, which people are now talking of resource control now, he mentioned this, that this is all the ingredients of federalism that must be separated. That was agreed upon. So they now came back with the position of premiership being established in the country. If you look back to the McPherson Constitution before they went, there was no premiership, even under McPherson Constitution. It was when the federalism was agreed upon that premiership was established in each region. And each region was autonomous. There again, the question the people are now saying they want self-determination Gambians. The question those who are asking for self-determination now is out of frustration. Because they not now want to cheat. And why? After they have agreed on federalism, before independence, local government, police, agriculture, education were all regional subjects. And these regionals and coordinate with the federal government. They were not subjected at all. And that is why all the developments about law made in the Western region in those days, he did it without going to the federal government by Balewa to borrow a kobo. Because the revenue, how they were already settled constitutionally. And was in a position to organize his own, to generate more revenue for his own progress. Under that one, under this federalism, there is what is called regional autonomy. Autonomy in the sense that be it education, agriculture, local government, all the things that pertain to the people were based in the region with the federating unit where there could be no conflict. All this we agreed upon before independence. And that was very happy. And we carried on. Even when oil was discovered, it was still 50% to the oil producing area and the rest to the federal government. And we are moving on. Because I'm trying to explain it to those who say, no, we must separate. If they are going to separate and do that, it will be the last resort. As I told Kanu and others, I said, well, you don't have to secede from Nigeria. We have been forced together against our weakness. There's an advantage in living together, but not in living together by one section oppressing the other. That is the problem. And I said, if they agreed on the independent, that is why we often refer to independent constitution. And that's why we say those who don't understand restructuring is not a new thing. It is what our founding fathers agreed to. And as one of the contributors mentioned in the under federalism, the federating units and central government, they are coordinate. The federating unit is not supplementing to federal government's coordinate. It's independent. And it is because of that position that gave the Western region power to have the foreign embassy in London at that time. Others who don't understand what federalism meant ridiculed Sifaulo, but later on they followed. And it was Sifaulo, first of all, established foreign embassy in London, 15A, City Garden. I have the privilege of being married at that place. And the first embassy man was Okorodudu from the Midwest at that time. I'm mentioning this to show what we enjoy as a federal of a constitutional federalism with regional autonomy. There is nothing you cannot get if you want to succeed under a federal constitution, strictly federal, not the question of the Nigerian factor. There is no Nigerian factor under federalism. Federalism is federalism. And we often refer to the fact that if you say you are following federalism, you are following America. All the influence that there is there. There is no Inspector General of Police in America. That comes with the question of security again. Because all that is embedded in fighting for restructuring, going back, restructuring is not a philosophy, going back to federalism is because all the things that is causing conflict now is already under that problem. And why people like me are very passionate about saying restructure back to federalism, and what the emphasis of our professors are saying, many people don't know what is contained in the restructured Nigeria under federalism. All these things were going on fine until the military came in 1966. It is there now who changed the constitution. One, they now create local government on their own. Besides, local government were all under the federative states. And culture under the states. They now create local government at the pleasure of every general in his village. They created local government in the north against the south, and then the number of local government will be the basis under which they will be distributing revenue. For instance, at that time, Lagos and Kano had the same population, but they created another state out of Kano called Jigawa, and they created about 4 local governments in Kano, about 20 or so more, or 30 in Jigawa, and Lagos still remain 20. And they now say that this number of local governments will be the basis of distributing revenue. These are the conflicts under this constitution. When those of us are saying, no, if you want us to stay together, you must go back to where you met us. I'm just going over this because I know there's not much time. But the North, I want to emphasize, it is they who will break Nigeria. It is Buhari who will break Nigeria if he does not agree to the constitution of our founding fathers, which created peace among everybody. Freedom of religion, freedom of our state is never a Muslim or Christian, it's a secular state. It was under that constitution you can have your this Muslim law, what do you call it now? Yeah. Sharia. Sharia, thank you. Under that law. And then we created our customary court here. Just to have peace. If you say you want to be killing yourself, that's your home, but not here. But we see the other federal institution. All that was clear. And that was why by the time Allah was making the development, the whole Western region, he created the Adebanjo University, Adebanjo Bello created Adebanjo Bello Society. He created Liberty Stadium, Adebanjo Bello created all competitive. On the other side, because everybody has an autonomy. But for the question of this military, who caused this confusion? And that is why I want our people to concentrate. Precautionary is just important for anybody who believes that you have to say. I agree with Professor Lako. We don't get anything by saying we want to succeed or something. But if we keep to the constitution of our founding fathers, everybody being autonomous as a purely federal institution, there'll be peace. But because what the North thought they lost by the constitutional provision of the independence, they brought it back by the autocrat, by the constitution they made. I must make emphasis that the constitution the military made in 1996 was made by the military power at that time. They made it, and all the things that were they considered to be against them under the constitution, they changed it in their favor, and they started the law. And that is why, again, I must emphasize, by the time they came into office, they ruled us for so long, they now say they are going out every power to us, power to civilians. And the action group and the Afenifere and others said, well, okay, if you are going back to barracks, send us back to the constitution under which you are. That was what led to the sermon for sovereign national conference at that time. That was what we are shouting for. That was what restructuring is now replaced. Why? We said we are not going to, when Adebanjo said we go back to civilian regime, we are not going to end it until we change this constitution. If you are going to go back to civilian government, you must go back under an agreed terms, not under a constitution imposed on us. Then we are shouting sovereign national conference. And when Obasanjo came into office, and we continued to clamor for it, and he said he's going to keep to the constitution, there can be no true sovereignty. And that was the time we started Nigerian constitution, unity is not negotiable. I said, no, that is borderline. There's nothing more negotiable than the unity of this country. And that the sovereignty we are talking of, because somebody was saying, if you go to the assembly, is that barren nonsense? The assembly, they say there are many constitutions now. It's a creation of this fraudulent constitution. That's our side. This assembly is a creation of the fraudulent constitution we are opposed to. How can you say you want to change something to a system we don't agree to? These are all the problems involved. Now, I think I'm just trying to call the. I now want to come back to the question of Yoruba unity. There is no disunity in Yoruba land. You'll be surprised to hear that from me. When the primate of Nigeria came to me about some weeks ago, the former primate, Archbishop Akinola, he's talking to me about the division in Yoruba land. And I told him, there's no division. It is ambition. It is ambition that is trouble in Yoruba land. And the ambition is embedded in the statement, Afenifere, the refusal to accept the leadership of one, make confusion in the whole world. Look at all these organizations you attend there, including all the youth element that have been talking. Why are they not one? I don't want to mention one of them knows that I was trying to settle dispute between the two of them, of the organization. You use organization there, use organization there. You are clamoring for the same thing. Why are you not one? And the question you also ask, all these various organizations, Yoruba Council of Elders, Yoruba this, Afenifere number 1, Afenifere number 2, what are they saying that is different from what Afenifere is saying? If not for what they want to be the leader. What have they said or have they done that is different from what we are? And many of them, you must observe, they break away from Afenifere. As I tell you, Afenifere, that's a Yoruba leader, that's Papa Fashionati. All these people broke away and immediately don't want to accept his leadership. The leadership came from Aolo, Papa Ajasi, from Papa Ajasi to Adesoya, from Adesoya to Fashionati. All these people are talking now, I don't want to mention any name. So you go and examine them. Where are they from? Until the latest one of Yoruba World Congress, where are they from? All because they want to be leader. So my appeal to you, if anybody wants to do anything in this platform, I appeal to these fragments to go back to the source. Somebody was saying, oh, sorry, I don't remember the speaker now, it was so sympathetic. He said they are subdued Afenifere. No, they can't subdue Afenifere because what Afenifere stands for is the only thing that can save Nigeria. That's why we are still subsisting. It is that they have subdued them because they have not won election. What election have they won? Corrupt election, fraudulent election. But we maintain our stand. Because on that federalism, on truth, we stand. And as I told somebody today was talking to me, truth comes to us, shall rise again. Afenifere can never be crushed because it's what we stand for. All right, you are now talking of restructuring. You are talking of the derivation. You are talking. We started this. Everybody now coming back to federalism. We started it. We are the only organization that has been most consistent. Irrespective of it, somebody referred to the meeting at Adebanjo. I organize it. I call everybody, irrespective of your political party, and we all agreed. Let nobody say there is no constitution for Yoruba land. We have done it. There is a Yoruba position, and we presented it at 2014 National Conference. It's there. And all the Yoruba that were good to the north unfairly, we said that if you want them to be in the north, let them go on the referendum. All that is there. So the problem is, let people be agreed on a leadership they know, because there's no reason why for one of them breaking away, if not for because they want to be leader. No, we cannot not be leaders. And the question is that those of them that say, oh, this or that, what is the difference between them and the Afenifere meeting? The gentleman who was talking of Afenifere that is subdued. Who is interrupting me, please?
Papa?
Let me conclude, my friend, please.
Thank you, sir.
Let me conclude.
Yes, sir.
The conclusion is not that the fact that the Yoruba unity you want is to appeal to those fragments to go back to the mainstream. Except they can tell you what are they saying that is different from what from where they broke off is saying, or what have they done or that they want to do. If that is not so, Yoruba can't possibly go. That's what they are saying. If you say you want freedom for Yoruba land, you want federation, you are not saying anything different. Why don't we come? The only people who don't want federation is the North, who don't believe that, one of them said of this is that they want to bring the unity in the North. The unity that the North, the spokesman of them, including Ango Abdullahi, what I'm mentioned, God, we know all these things. The unity they want is the unity of us and the rider, where they be the rider and the rest of the country be the host. And that is what others are refuting and rejecting. Today they say they don't mind restructuring, and they say no, they don't want restructuring. It must be uncertain for something. If they want Nigeria to be one, and we said this is the only one under the restructuring or federalism is the only way, let them give us their own alternative. The alternative is this constitution we're complaining about. That is what you look at. So our problem is clear to any honest and sincere person. And I've always been challenged the Buhari that, well, if you are sincere about Nigeria keeping together, look at the question of Fulani ass men. Up to today, they are oppressing Fulani in office. Nobody has been arrested. All the question of security are talking about is done because police is centrally controlled. There was an election in Kogi. They killed a woman there after the election under centralized security. And all the security people in the country today are from a section of the country. in many cases from the village of Buhari. These are their problems. So don't let anybody say, well, let our professors and all that. And concentrate on the question of no, don't confuse us. We want to be one. And I like to say this to Taiwo and others. I am with them, but we are not going to reach determination until Lord refuse. Not Yoruba say you could be to Joko. The fact that we want is not that we don't know what we can be. And as you said, what we can be, we have demonstrated when Aulo was there. And our Wilson at that time said, if Aulo could rule any part of the Europe, it's on record. But his performance in the whole Western region, we know all that.
Okay.
But we the question of sovereignty going back will be the last resort if the North does not agree to an agreeable constitution under federalism.